What's going on, guys? PXCam20 back in with a brand new video. Today it's a brand new week of daily races as we are here at Brazil, the Interlagos. I think I said that correctly. But yeah, we are starting in second place as we were able to put in a 131.7, but there's actually a guy faster than us, and his name is SV Cyrus. As you can see, he is in the Lamborghini with a 131.2, and so we're gonna have to push as hard as we can to try to catch up to him and hopefully get this win as we are jumping into the lobby. So coming to the lobby, it was a really early lobby, so we had a lot of B rank players, A rank players, and a couple of A plus rank players. So it's just a huge combination of cars, as again, we were just really early to the lobby, and so that's why we weren't having a lot of the faster guys racing around us. But still a competitive lobby, so we still have to be on top of our toes, as this is a no stop race. We are starting on the hards, and that's the only compound that we are given. And the fuel is actually not that bad on the consumption, as we are here in our Mazda Atenza. And it's actually, in my opinion, I picked this car because it's really good with the tire wear, as that's going to be the #1 thing you have to focus on when doing this race, is being fast, but also be wary of the tire wear, as that's what's going to either drive you to a victory or to a loss. Now, before we jump into the video, we're trying to reach a goal of 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So if you guys really enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video, as it really helps out the channel when you guys do so. Anyways, that's enough promoting myself. Let's jump straight into the race. Now, as we jump into the race, you can see that first place is driving a Lamborghini, and we are in our Atenzas. We have a combination of a lot of different cars. You know, you see we have a Beetle, Supras, some Porsches in there, so it's going to be a really interesting race. I'm in the Atenza. This has been the fastest car on the leaderboards, but not only that, I already did a race before this one, and I just really like that the tire wear wasn't that bad on this race car, as we actually get on to the start, past the start finish line, and head down the straightaway as we go into turn #1. So coming to turn #1, you can see the Lambo has a huge lead ahead of us, as he's probably going to pull off away from us on this first half of the race. But again, if we just save the tires, stay right behind him on the slipstream, and just stay with him, we should be able to catch back up to him, as the Lambo is known to have really bad tire wear, especially on races like this. So shifting majority of our brake to the rear so that we can get some good rear braking in and just wear out the tires on the back and not in the front. And I think we should be fine here, as long as we could just stay again with the Lamborghini as we head into this right-hander, ladies, into the middle sector. So coming into this turn right here, you can see that we're just pinching it out to the outside, trying to clip the apexes as best as we can, staying right behind the Lamborghini in the slipstream, and we're able to do so here as we get a little bit loose coming out of that corner. And you can see in third place on the radar, he's actually getting a little bit closer to us, so we got to worry about him, as he almost tries to make an attempt on overtake there, as you can see how fast he actually gained on us on that right-hander. But we're able to hold off the position there and just focus on our lines and focus on staying right behind the Lamborghini in first place. So jumping into lap #8, you can see how much of a gap that the Lamborghini actually gained on us, as he's almost 1.5 seconds ahead of us. And we're just trying to get out of here. You can see that he's struggling with his tires now as we are coming out of this third corner here. You see that he gets a little bit loose coming out of the right-hander, and look at how much time we're gaining on him as we're coming down onto the straightaway that he is into turn #4. So coming to turn #4, you see how late we brake right here, and you can see how much time we're gaining as he's getting very loose coming out of that corner, and it's just fishtailing all over the place in the back. And we are just gaining so much time on him, as we almost gain a full second on him, as we are now on his back bumper in just the span of like 2 corners. So you can see how much the tire wear is going off on his, as we don't have to go into the pits for this race, as we are all starting on the hards, and that's again the only required compound on this race, and it's able to last the entire race, as we are now starting to fishtail coming out of the left-hander. So coming to his right-hander where Hamilton took out Albon, you see we're still on the inside right here as we're clipping. All our apex is good, but the Lamborghini is unable to get onto the bottom, as he actually missed that apex there, and we jump up into lap #9. So coming to lap #9 now, we're on the straightaway where we gained so much time on him on the lap previous, as we're looking onto the inside. It's going to be a little too optimistic of a move, as we're just going to wait patiently to try to keep putting pressure on him, hopefully force him into a mistake, and just wait for a good spot to try to make the overtake, instead of just trying to force our way down there and eventually maybe take both of us out because of that. So follow him again on this 2 right-handers here. That's gonna lead us into turn #8. We're still right behind the Lamborghini, as we're just still putting pressure on him, as you can see how much he's just struggling right here. He's just getting very loose coming out of those corners, and is unable to get onto the apex. as we're just keeping on to the inside on every single turn here. As he gets a really bad exit here, but he's able to just get that power from the Huracan to recover, as we're just trying to find each and every way to try to just get around him and stay right behind him on the slipstream as we come into the final corner, heading down onto his long straightaway and staying right behind him. So stay right behind him on the slipstream is probably gonna be our best chance to try to make a move onto the inside, as we're close, but we're just too far back to try to make a move onto the inside, as it would be a desperate lunge if we tried doing so. But again, he's just struggling so much as we're into lap number 10, and we're still right behind him here. As you can see, I don't know if that was lag or if he was just still getting loose, but we're still putting pressure on him as we're on the slipstream still, as we jump up into the end of lap number 10. We're just following him now as we come into turn number 1. So coming into turn number 1, still right behind him. We try to brake early as he actually brakes himself a little bit, and we are on the inside here as he actually backs out there. Not sure exactly what happened. As you can see, he's ghosted now, and we are now promoted into first place because of that. I'm not sure what happened there. It almost looked like the control failed or something, or he just immediately stopped. And look at how much time we gained on him, as we are now about a second and a half ahead of him as we jump into the final lap. So coming to the final lap now, we are on the last sector, and honestly, I cannot win the race like that. I mean, if you know, something happened to his car because of you know, something that happened to his controller, I can't win a race like that. It's just I wouldn't feel right. So coming to the end of the race, we're just gonna let him go by. I didn't want to let him go by a little earlier in the race, as you can see that third place is like almost on his back bumper. So if we would have backed out of there, third place would have passed both of us. So coming to the start finish line, we slam on the brakes and let the Lamborghini through, and we're gonna give him the win, just like he did to us. And I just thought it was good sportsmanship to just give him the win, because I don't know exactly what happened in his case, whether the controller died or what happened, but we gave him back the win. But come to figure out that at the end of the race, he actually just let us get the position, so I could have just won the race. So that was my fault, but I mean, it felt good at the time, because I was like, okay, well, I want to be a good sportsmanship and give him the win. But as we jump into our second race, you can see that we are starting in first place, so this is going to be our best chance to get a win here, as we don't have the Lamborghini ahead of us, and we actually have the second place car behind us. But for the first lap, I didn't get a good recording, so you're just seeing it from this perspective as we actually overshoot turn number 1 heading into turn number 2, and you can see that everybody's going to pass us now as we're coming down into turn number 3, losing 3 positions now, and on the cusp of losing even more positions. As you can see, the Tenza's going onto the inside, the Subaru's going into the inside, and we are demoted all the way into 6th place. So already a really bad start, as we're only halfway into lap number 1, and you can see that another Tenza is trying to make a move onto the inside, and we lose 6 positions as we are demoted from 1st to 7th place in the span of just 5 corners. So not a good start onto this race, but it's still manageable as we are only in 7th place. But as we come into his right-hander, you see that we get bumped from behind by the white Tenza, and you can see the Subaru is getting punted out wide, and he gets a little loose, and luckily he ghosted there. If not, we would have made contact with him. So we get a 1 position there as we are now up into 6th, but ahead of us, the Aston Martin, the Tenza are making contact as we're in the middle of a 3-wide sandwich, and we're going to slow it down here. But you can see the Subaru makes a move onto the inside, and so we have to give him the spot back there, and we are down into 7th place now as we come into the final part of the lap. So coming to the final corners now, we brake very, very early so we avoid making contact with the Ashton, but the Subaru and the Tenza make contact, and the Tenza's trying to get back onto the racetrack. He gets very loose, hits us, and we're on the grass here, so we're just trying to keep it straight, but we are unable to, and we spin out, crash right into the wall, and we get demoted all the way from 7th place to 17th. So from 1st to 17th in a span of 1 lap. If you guys want to know how to do it, that's how you do it. We are now in last place on lap number 3, but luckily 1 car actually quit it out, so we are now in 16th place instead of 17th place, but again still in last place as we are jumping into lap number 1, or turn number 1. So coming to turn number 1 on lap number 4, you can see how much time we gained on the cars ahead of us, as there are 2 cars that have to serve the penalty. So we're just gonna follow right behind here on the Volkswagen, and hopefully we can make the overtake on the 2 cars that have to serve the penalties, as it's only half a lap or half a second for both of them. So coming to this left-hander here, you see that the American in the GTR had a service penalty, but he holds the inside, and we have to back out of the move there, but he goes a little bit wide coming out that corner, and we're going down to the inside here, make a forceful move, and I think he didn't see us until the last second, as he actually gets out of the way right on the last second, and luckily we didn't make contact with him there. As we fast forward now into the end of lap number 4. So coming to the end of lap number 4, we're still right behind the Volkswagens. You can see the Aston Martin trying to make a move onto the inside of the Supra, and the Supra cuts him off a little bit there as he gets a little bit wide. Supra goes onto the inside. The Aston Martin is able to avoid him, but we try to avoid both the Aston Martin and the Volkswagen, but we're unable to do so as we actually make contact with the Aston Martin and actually help him up as we actually give him a little bump draft there as we come down onto the straightaway, leading us into lap number 5. So coming to lap number 5, we're going side by side with the Volkswagen. As we come into turn number 1, the Volkswagen backs out of the move very, very early, and we're able to get the position there as we are now promoted into 13th place and setting our sights on the Aston Martin as we come into the left-hander. So coming to the left-hander here, staying right behind the slipstream of the Aston Martin. We're just going to stay right behind him and try to find a way to get around him and look for a good overtaking position and now force our way into it as we jump into lap number 6. So coming into lap number 6, going into turn number 1, you see the car ahead of us, the Porsche, actually has to serve a penalty there. So we're just going to follow right behind the Aston Martin here as the Subaru gets a little bit squirrely there and is making contact with the Porsche as he forces the Porsche out. And he's going to come back to the inside here as me and the Aston Martin just trying to get around the Subaru as he makes contact with the Aston Martin. Coming into turn number 4 now, we're on the inside of the Subaru, trying to break as late as we can. He actually makes contact with us. Somehow we're all the way on the bottom of the track, and we're able to do so there as we are now promoted into 11th place as we come into turn number 6 and 7. So coming into turn number 6, stay right behind the Aston Martin as we're going to hold it onto the inside here and just follow the Aston Martin in. The Subaru actually goes in very, very late, pushes us out wide, and we get a 1-second penalty for that. So I'm not sure what we got the 1-second penalty for, but just like in Tokyo earlier in the week, we get a 1-second penalty as we get a little squirrely coming out of that corner. We lose another position to a Volkswagen, and so we're gonna have to serve our 1-second penalty on the next lap as we come into the final sector. And you can see that Aston Martin ahead of us actually gets the penalty too. So let's see what happened here. The Subaru just forces his way down there, pushes the Aston Martin out, and the Aston Martin actually gets a 1-second penalty because of that. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Is that I know that Aston Martin's mad. He actually takes out the Subaru, and we gain 2 positions because of that. And the Volkswagen's getting a little bit loose, so we're trying to make a move onto the inside of the Volkswagens. We're almost getting overtaken by the car behind us, and we get 10 positions. Let's see what happened here. The Aston Martin just decides to retaliate, takes out the Subaru because of that penalty, and that's going to promote us 2 positions and the 3rd one as we make the overtake on the Volkswagen coming to the straightaway. Coming to the straightaway now, you see there's another car spun out onto the inside, so not sure what happened to him. So we are now in 9th place as we're gonna have to come to the penalty zone and serve our 1-second penalty now as we come down the straightaway leading us into turn 4. So serving our 1-second penalty as we head into the left-hander, and you see that the Aston Martin ahead of us is able to make the overtake on us, or not the Aston Martin but the Porsche. And now we are demoted into 10th place now as we come into turn number 11. So coming to the final part of the lap, we get a little bit loose coming out turn number 11. We clip the grass and we do a full 360 as that's going to be race over basically. I'm not going to be able to make up any positions as we actually lose a position because of that spin. And basically this race went from potential of a win to basically us fighting in the mid-pack and losing in 11th place as we come out of the final corner. So coming out of the final corner now as we head onto the straightaway, we're just gonna stay in 11th place. We're gonna try to see if the 2 cars ahead of us take each other out as they're going side by side and fighting really hard as one of them has a penalty. But unfortunately we were unable to make any ground on them, and we're gonna finish this race in 11th place after starting on the pole for a potential victory. But that was on our fault. We overdrove turn number 1, and then we just got caught up in someone else's wreck. That, I mean, it really wasn't anybody's fault. It was just a racing incident, and that took us all the way back to 17th. But we're able to gain 6 positions. We probably could have gained a little bit more if we would have not spun out on that final sector back on lap number 10, I think it was. But I mean, it's whatever. It's just one race. So I know we'll come back strong in the next race as we have a really good, strong qualifying lap. And hopefully we can just come back and finish in a better position on future races. So if you guys really enjoyed the video, again, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like, as I'm really liking this daily race. Daily races at Brazil are always fun. You just have to be very wary about cars crashing into you and ramming you off, as it has happened to us in the past, as you can see on some of my earlier videos. Sometimes we have ran into trouble here at Brazil Interlagos. But again, we're just gonna have to run with the Atenza, and maybe there's gonna be another car that's gonna be faster and better at tire wear. But until then, we're just gonna keep running with the Atenza and see if we can try to pull off a victory here at Interlagos. So again, if you guys really enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.